I'm going to show you how to sharpen a chainsaw blade by hand with a chainsaw file, and the difference between a standard cut and an aggressive cut chain. So, most chains you buy from big box stores or from your local lawn and garden supply are going to be your standard chain. They have the green link on them, or they're going to have a green spot on the box that they come in. This is specific to steel. At least almost every other chainsaw I've dealt with have been about the same. Now, even if they're different colors, the difference between a standard and an aggressive cut chain is all about the distance between the sweeper and the blade. So if you take a look here at this chain, all this is a cross section of a cutter. So you see if it'll focus on that. Let's see, I'll put her against yonder paper. See paper right here? Let's see. Come on, focus. Old camera, it's not going to want to focus right. But you can see the shiny bit, that's the cutter. That's this piece. That's your actual blade. That's a sweeper. That's this piece. Difference between a standard and an aggressive is the distance, how low the sweeper is compared to the blade. It's basically just taking more material each time. Some saws can't handle an aggressive blade. It will either be too much for the motor and overheat, or overwork the clutch. So the saw I have, I basically sharpen all my blades to a moderate kind of in between this. So I start with a standard, and over time I'll sharpen this down, because if you notice, it's not so exaggerated on these blades, but you can see they do slope down. So as they wear, they get shorter, so it gets less aggressive each time you sharpen it. So you just take a little off the top. Alright, so we're going to move over to the bench vise, which is the way I do it, and I'm going to show you how I sharpen chains. Alright, we're at the vise. I'm going to close it up almost all the way. This is going to act like the bar on the chain. First thing we're going to do, we're going to make sure our chain is, straight, like it would be. Make sure it's not inside out. We're going to check the flex, because sometimes they get so worn that they actually make the saw cut in a C, so it'll cut round, which makes it bind up and is terrible. So how you're going to check that is you hold the chain out like this. You're going to twist it like this. If you notice an incredible amount of play, like you can almost do a quarter of a turn, it's wore out beyond being repairable. Also, before you sharpen it, back to our little cutters here, most of the time there's going to be a little line engraved almost with like a laser, really fine line. That's how the minimum thickness of these little teeth. So once it gets to that, you could go a little longer, but it's best just to replace the chain. Next thing we're going to do is look for damage. If it struck rock or a chain or a fence or a nail or something in a tree, you're going to look and see if this is all wore off on the front. I'm sorry it's not focusing, but I'm doing the best I can. But you want to see if this is all rounded off. If this is rounded off, you're going to have to sharpen it past that to get a good edge. Now we're going to get to the actual sharpening. So I'm going to set this in the vise just like that, where it can slide. Crank the vise just a little bit to hold her fast. I'm going to start with my chainsaw file, and from the teeth face different ways. So this one, it's flat on this side, it's open on this side. So you're going to come at it from this way. You're going to pull it this way, and what you're doing is you're getting it just slightly up underneath this edge and against this edge here, because it's cutting a side and it's cutting a top. So make one pass, two passes, three passes, until you can physically hear the saw or the file, or you'll feel it when the file's not cutting anymore. It's just kind of sliding along. So like right now, it's just sliding along. This one's already sharp. I'll do this one too, because it's the same direction. Then I'll switch it and go this direction. Then, if I need to, I'll work the sweepers down. So I have this file, and I'll just give them a quick little rub right over the top of them. Just take a little bit off. Now I'm basically done with this section. Now what I'll do is, if I've marked it, like say this one's more of an aggressive chain, I'll paint it red on one tooth every now and then, just with a Sharpie. That way, at a quick glance, I can pick a saw up and go, oh, the teeth are painted, I know this is aggressive, and I know it's a fresh chain. Because when you use it, the teeth are going to be worn and the paint's not going to be there no more. So now I'm going to move to the next section. do the same process over again. And depending how long your saw is, this may take 5 minutes, it may take 15, but you'll have a sharp chain. And something you can do that I do is I have a supply. These are worn here. These are all nice and sharp. So I keep a nice supply of them, and once I get a couple of them worn out, like now I have 3 of them that are worn, I'll take the time and I'll sharpen them when I get a minute, and I'll have a whole selection of nice, sharp, brand new chains. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Comment, rate, subscribe. Have an awesome day.